Hey guys, Wise Guy here. Welcome to episode 3 of my Logistic Pipe tutorial series. Today we are going to get into the most exciting part of Logistic Pipes, in my opinion, chassis and modules. I'm going to try to do this in one episode, it might be two, and one thing I'm going to do for you guys is turn down my sound a lot. I noticed that these clicks probably come across really loud compared to my voice. That's just the way Camtasia is on recording in system sound. It's really great at it, guys, if you ever need to, but you need to make sure these are turned down. So I'm going to put this down to 10% actually. Now, chassis pipes is what I'm holding in my hand right here. They actually have different types. We have Mark 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 is the latest one. And basically all these different marks, the pipes become more and more expensive as they go up, and they also become more and more capable of doing different things. Now, I did mention in the last episode that these go hand in hand with modules, which is why I wanted to wait for these. Now, basically what happens is when you place a pipe, it goes ahead and looks like a normal pipe. I'm actually going to start a whole new network over here, I think, guys. So it looks like a normal pipe. They connect to basic logistic pipes just like everything else. You get that validation. You can have cobblestone pipes in the middle if you need to. No big deal. So chassis pipes, okay, what are we going to do with that? Well, we had our provider pipe, our supplier pipe, but the problem with that is, if we wanted to have a real good setup here, we made this our default route earlier in, I believe it was the second episode. So basically all overflow items went to this chest. But then, items just sit in this chest, I have to manually send it over there, or I have to make a whole another pipe setup to bring it over there. So what I want to do is, let's say, I'd have to put up a supplier pipe too. So that way, not a supplier, what am I talking about here? A provider pipe. And I'd have to say, okay, well, I want this chest to be able to be the default route for any extra items, but I also want to be able to provide from this chest, because any overflow items should still be in my network. So this says anything in this chest can be provided into the network to craft. So overflow stone, for example, when I'm making stone gears, will go to this chest, and then I can actually pull from this chest and make more stone gears later, or furnaces or whatever if I need to. So then I say, okay, well then I can make my default items go here. I want to provide this. I want to make sure my chest is always supplied with something else. So let me grab a supplier pipe. And I have this set up here. And I say, okay, now I need this. Oh wait, gotta connect it with a basic logistic pipe, so let me hook that up here. And you can kind of see that you get a messy network, guys. That's kind of the point I'm trying to prove here. Now, chassis pipes allow you to have the same functionality here, but you can do this with modules instead. And modules are basically configurable items that allow you to do a lot. And I know it sounds very confusing right now, but chassis pipes are the equivalent of these basic logistic pipes with suppliers and providers. I call those like the basic tier 1 types. However, you can make them configurable. So let's go ahead and take this chassis pipe and whack it with a wrench and we'll see what happens. Okay guys, so for the chassis pipe, when we right click this with a wrench, we get this little interface here. Now this blank spot here is for a module, and I should move my modules into here so I can show you how the different ones are. But you'll notice that the Mark 1 has one spot for a module. Again, that's the Mark 1 chassis pipe right here. And we have one place for a module. Go and put this down here again. Okay. Now we also have Mark 2, 3, 4, and 5, so let's go ahead and see what those look like. We can put down a Mark 2. A Mark 3, getting a little bit of lag here guys, a Mark 4, and finally a Mark 5, which is going to be the most expensive one, and I put down 2 by accident. Alrighty, so let me go ahead and just stop real quick guys since I'm getting a little bit of lag. It'll be just 1 minute. Alright guys, I hope that got rid of the lag. So basically we have the Mark 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 chassis pipes. As I said, the Mark 1 has the 1 slot for a module. Mark 2 has 2 slots. You can probably guess, Mark 3 does have 3 slots. 4, you guessed it, 4 slots. 5, you're wrong. This one has 8 slots. Look at that, guys. 8 slots for modules. This is going to be something that you really won't need too often. I can't think of any setup that you would want this for specifically, other than a couple things I'm using on my server right now. And I don't think you're going to need this one too often, but it is here in case you need that much functionality off of one chassis pipe. So that's great, all these different slots. Now, why would I use these versus the provider pipes? Why not always use these? If these are modular and I can do what I want with them, why would I want to use basic just provider and supplier pipes? Well guys, it's very simple. Let's go ahead and look at the recipes of everything. Alright, I'm back guys. I had to stop for a second. I had to record in segments because Camtasia's been having some issues with me lately. Now back to the video though. As I said, the recipes for these is what we need to look at, and this is the reason why you're going to stick with suppliers or providers maybe until you can actually afford the stuff. So a logistic chassis pipe is not too bad. A basic logistic pipe surrounded by redstone or redstone chipsets. And again, chipsets guys are always cheaper. Mark II uses iron, not a big deal. As you might imagine, the Mark III uses gold. Mark IV uses diamond, and this is where it's getting pretty expensive. And then you say, wait a second, Mark V, and look at this guys, 4 diamond blocks and 4 gold blocks. Ouch. Very, very expensive. This takes 36 pieces of diamond, 36 pieces of gold. To get the basic logistic pipe, you need a diamond pipe with 2 golden chipsets or 2 golden gears. It's just even more. And I mean, very, very expensive, and that's where I'm saying I don't think you're going to need the Mark V too often, and just be very careful if you are going to use that because it's a lot of resources. So basically, these chassis pipes as they function right now have no modules in them. So they are just basic logistic pipes right now. They serve to route items, and that's it. I'm going to go ahead and do some different things here. I'm going to put a few chests down, I guess. And we can actually hook all these pipes up to different chests. So let me just do that real quick. And of course, let me use iron chests instead because that way I can place them down next to each other. Let's do that. This is from the iron chest mod, guys. Very great mod. And now, when we modify these, you can see that there is an orange tick that goes to that. Now what that means is this chassis pipe is reading the inventory of this item. This will work for a lot of different items. It'll work for ender chests as well. It'll work for, I believe, crafting tables, furnaces, a few different things like that. And you'll see this orange tick go to that. Now, if you do need to change it to a different direction, let's say I have 2 chests next to each other, I believe it's a shift click. I actually haven't had this too much, but you can see that it's not reading the inventory over here. But if you shift click it, then it'll read that inventory, then it'll read that inventory, that inventory, that inventory. You can go back and forth, whichever you need. So I'm going to go and delete that one here. So before we had a provider pipe, and that provider pipe provides everything but one item in every single stack. Now, coincidentally, what we can say is while we're hooked up to this inventory, I want to provide everything in this inventory. So let's go ahead and put a stack of cobble in there. Cobble's my go-to, guys. I use it for everything. Now this chest still can't provide anything, and we can actually see that if we put a request pipe at the end here, which I have around here somewhere. I'll just go grab a new one. We have nothing in this network that we can request right now because there's nothing sane to pull from this chest. There's just items here and a chassis pipe hooked up. But this blank module here can actually be filled with any of the modules you see up here. So let me go ahead and show you just how modules work, and you're going to have a lot of fun with this, guys. Alright, modules. So every module starts with a blank module as its recipe. And if we hit for NEI to see how to make a blank module, it's not too bad. We're going to make it with 1 golden nugget, 3 pieces of paper on each side, and 2 pieces of redstone to get 1 blank module. And you'll see that that blank module is again used for every other module within logistic pipes. Now what do all these modules do? Well, that's what we're going to go over in this next segment. It might take a few segments to get them all done. We might do it over 2 videos, but we'll go ahead and see what we can get done. You can see there's green modules, orange modules, blue modules, other orange, other blue, purple, all these different things. And they're all right here for you guys. So I'm going ahead and lay them out. Again, you start with a blank module for base. And the first one I want to talk about is the provider module. Now I was kind of leading up to that some, guys. I was saying that we have a provider pipe there and we want to provide items that are in this chest. So what do you think the provider module does? Well, let's go and look at the recipe. It's going to take 4 pieces of blue dye, liquid, bottled, whatever you want to get, or just lapis. You're going to take a golden gear or a golden chipset, 3 pieces of redstone, and a blank module. And guys, I'll tell you right now, every module you're going to want to make is going to be blank in the middle. Let me get rid of the rain, guys. Every module you're ever going to want to make is going to be a blank module in the middle, 3 pieces of redstone, and then the color dye that matches the color on the module almost all the time. And then usually the color of the little gold chips there will be if it's a golden chipset or a golden gear. For example, on this one here, it's not a good example. On the polymorphic item sync, which we'll talk about later, there's 4 pieces of orange dye and a iron gear, which kind of matches that brownish iron look there. So it's just kind of a go-to there. Of course, you can use any eye if you have it to look at the recipes. So back to what we're talking about here with the provider module. I get sidetracked sometimes, guys. We want to be able to provide cobblestone from this chest, so I can simply put a provider module into this. And look, this little exclamation mark appears. And we get that same interface as we did in the provider pipe. So I'm going to go ahead and say I want to leave 1 item per stack. We have 64 cobble in here, so I should be able to request 63 of it because there's going to be 1 piece left over, guys. And it's the same thing as before. Requested, it comes right out of the chest. And I can put that right back. So let me get a few more stacks of cobble. Just because I like doing a few things with this right now. Put some more cobble in here. And you can see that we can request a lot more cobble. That's going to be however many stacks I put in there, -1 basically, because it's going to leave 1 item per every stack. Now that's great. I can provide from 1 chest. It's the same thing as provider pipe basically is what I'm saying right here. Now later if I say, oh, I want this chest to be a different function, I can just take out the provider module and I didn't waste a whole pipe. I can put something else here, which is why you would want to use something over the provider pipe, but again is a little bit more expensive. Now Mark 1 doesn't add too much functionality, so let's go ahead and take this cobble out. But let's say I want to do something like I mentioned over here. I want to be able to make a default route and I want to be able to provide from that chest. That's where our next module is going to come into place, and I'll show you that right now. So these 2 modules are going to work hand in hand with your provider almost in all cases. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and put my provider in there. And you notice that it actually keeps the setting that I had last on here. So if you change a setting, they will not stack, but modules normally do stack. So provider, I'll just go ahead and show you that real quick, guys. Provider module. Okay, so they do stack, just like anything else. But as soon as I change the tick the first time, even if I bring it back to normal, which is the default mode, you can no longer stack it with the other items in the provider stack. Just a tip there, guys. Don't customize things and then try to move them, then customize. But I'm going to go ahead and put this back on the leave 1 item per stack. And I have 1 more slot here, and again, I was saying over here that what if you have multiple functions that you want 1 chest to do? And let's say this iron chest right here is going to be my cobble chest. I always want cobblestone to go to this chest. Now remember that, always want cobblestone. This is going to be my storage chest for cobblestone. Now what can I do for that? I'm going to sync all my items to that chest. My cobblestone items. And this is the great thing about modules, guys. Item sync module. We're going to craft that. 3 pieces of green dye. The same crafting recipe as before. 3 redstone, iron gear, blank module. Now the item sync module, place it in here like everything else. We also get that little configure option here. Requested items. Now we can tell this all the items we want to send to this chest, that we are going to sync to this chest. Why this chest? Because we have an orange tick that says that's the chest I want to go to. So I want cobble to go here. How about I do this? I'm going to sync all of my cobble to this chest. I can also say I want dirt, basic logistic pipes, and anything else I want to go to that chest. And look, guys, we can also say default route, so we can make our overflow chest if we wanted to. So maybe this is where all my cobble and anything else will go. I want all cobble to go there, and then anything else the system doesn't know about will go to that chest. This is the same thing as the overflow chest we set up over here. So that's great, but how do I get cobble there? So item syncs are passive requests. Now what I mean by passive is that if there's cobble somewhere in our system that's not being used, it'll send it to this chest. If there's cobble in this chest here, it will not actively pull out and say, hey, you're not supposed to be there. Come to my inventory. It will not do that, guys. So that's what I mean by active versus passive. Passive meaning if there's something in this pipe network already, it will be going. So let's go ahead and show you something else. Real quick, we can still request that cobble because it's here. And I'm going to make a quick setup, guys, to show you the passive pulling of more cobblestone in here. So let's go ahead and pull all cobblestone out. Again, item sync is set up to request cobblestone. I'm going to turn that off. And I'll make a quick setup for you guys, and you'll see cobblestone being pulled into the network and then going to that chest. So hold on just one second. Alright guys, so I went ahead and made a quick setup. I just put an ender chest down here, and I'm going to tell you about how items are being pulled into this network in a minute. But remember, again, we have an item sync that's going to say passive requesting of cobblestone to this chest, and to prove the concept, there's no cobblestone here. So I'm going to open that ender chest over there. I'm going to place some cobble in, and you're going to see it come out of the network, and it's going to shoot right into that chest. It skips over every single pipe and goes right to that chest. You can see it open right here. Let me grab that cobble back out. We're going to do this one more time. I'm going to try to catch it for you guys. So let me just do that. We can see all the cobble come down and shoot right into that chest. It knows exactly where to put it. Now, how am I doing this? Well, these, again, are passive requests with the item sync module. And it knows that cobble should go in here solely because I marked cobble as the item sync. Now, items are being pumped into the network by that ender chest, and how is that working exactly? Let me go ahead and show you. So this brings us right to our next module. Now here's our item sync, and I also have a quick sort module, and this is a chassis Mark II, guys, and look, it connects to the ender chest just like everything else. So, item sync, I went ahead and put no requested items, but I did put default route yes. Basically what that means is this is going to be my sorting chest. This is going to go into sorting systems, and I'll tell you practical setups in later tutorials, but basically with an ender chest and ender bag setup from the ender storage mod, you can make a sorting system. So all of my stuff that I want sorted will go into this chest. It can be an iron chest, it can be a diamond chest, it can be whatever I like, and the quick sort is going to pull all the items in there in a quick fashion, sometimes a half stack at a time or a full stack at a time, and it's going to throw them into the network to be sorted. So it says, I'm going to sort all items, which would be cobble in my case, into this network, and if it has a place to go, which cobblestone does, it'll go to that chest. If it doesn't, this is where the item sync comes in play. Default route yes, go ahead and send it back down this network. So for example, I put cobblestone in, and let's say I put a half stack of iron chests. Iron chests did not get sorted out. They're still sitting here. Why is that? Because we have no place for iron chests to go. The only thing we have in here is cobble, because the item sync says cobble. Now as soon as I put an iron chest here as well, the quick sort is going to pull the items out, and it just sent a half stack of iron chests to this chest. So that's how that's going to work, guys. And again, I'm going to show you that practical application a little bit later. It's kind of a rough thing to try to explain these different modules, so I have to set up some stuff like this, and I'm going to go in more depth later, and I kind of apologize for that right now. The key thing to know is that quicksort will pull items out of your chest and throw it into your network in an active fashion, and you're going to always want to pair that with an item sync with a default route yes chest. If you can't afford a Mark II and you want to use a Mark I with quicksort, then you're going to need to throw basic logistic pipes on here. So your same chest has a default route this way instead. Okay, so I'll go ahead and take this item sync out. I'm going to go ahead and change this setting so we do not have iron chests in here. And again, I'm going to throw iron chests in this area. We'll see them not get pulled out because this is being quick sorted to this area. So it's not going to quick sort because this is the default route to the same inventory. So there's two ways to do that, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these. Bring that iron chest back. Put this item sync back, and look, it retained the default route yes. And this will be my sorting chest for the rest of the tutorial period. Alright, so we talked about quicksort, we talked about item sync, we talked about having your default route set the correct way, we talked about provider pipes. Now basically, let's imagine that this is my chest storage area. I want to be able to call everything in the network from this chest storage area, so that means that every chest would need to have a provider pipe on it. So you're going to want Mark II chassis at the bare minimum for every area in your storage chest. Now I'm going to go into storage areas into a later tutorial. I have a whole series planned on practical applications. We're going to get into sorting systems, auto crafting systems, factory systems, smelting systems, etc. But for now, the things that you want to know is for your chest storage to get you started, guys, you're going to want Mark II chassis. Just take my word on that. Mark II chassis, and you're going to want to put an item sink and a provider pipe, or excuse me, a provider module and an item sink module. And if you don't have an item sink, something else you can do that's a little bit cheaper, because you can get this from Red Rose and Yellow Dandelions, is the Polymorphic item sink. Now, Polymorphic item sink, guys, does not have a configurable option. And again, we make this with 4 pieces of orange dye, the iron gear, 3 redstone, and the blank module, or an iron chipset at top instead. That will only require 2 pieces of dye, so again, chipsets are the ways to go, guys. That's going to be true through all logistic pipes. I say it all the time, you're going to get it in your head that you want to do it this way. Now, Polymorphic does not have a configurable option. What do I do here? How do I know what items go in here? Well, it's still an item sink, so it's still going to bring items to this chest, but how does it know which chests to put them in and what items to put in? Now, if I put cobble in here, the Polymorphic says all items that are already in this chest belong in this chest. So basically it says, hey, I have cobble in here. If there's cobble in this network, I'm going to route it this way. So let's go ahead and go to our sort chest. I actually have my ender bag with me. I'm going to put cobble in the network. And we're going to see it sort just like the item sink to this area. Sometimes it takes just a second to register. I did put the quick sort back on here, I believe, didn't I? Where'd the cobblestone go? Did it go without me seeing it? Alright, that might be a bug that I need to report. It's very interesting. Did you guys see that? I put all that cobble in here, and it disappeared on me. Didn't go anywhere else, did it? It went into this chest. Interesting. Let me go and look at that, guys. I don't have anything here. Alright, so that might be a little bug. Let me go ahead and put that back down, and we'll see what happens now. So again, our Polymorphic is on here. Provider pipes here, and you can see that this is something, again, it's a pre-release, guys. So I say that I have cobblestone in this chest. My ender bag is going to be putting cobblestone in the ender chest. It will get sorted out. There it goes. And here it comes. So all I did was break that pipe and replace it, guys, and it worked. And you can see it sent all cobblestone here because there was already one piece. Now, if you guys remember, I was talking about with provider pipes and provider modules, you would almost always want to leave this to 1 item per stack. Because let's say it's on normal, and I'm going to request all the cobble that's in here right now. 512 pieces. Okay, and it's being sprayed everywhere because I did not put a chest down here at the end like I did on that side. Let me pick this all up. Oh, this is going to be a lot of cobble, guys. Maybe I shouldn't have requested so much at once. Oh well. Let me clear this all up. I'll be right back, guys. Actually, I'm not going to worry about cutting the video. We're almost done, it looks like. This is almost fun now, and it fills up a little bit of time. Right, guys? There we go. All done. So, basically here... thought I broke these earlier. Now I've requested all the cobble out of here. So this Polymorphic doesn't have any items in there. So if we open our ender bag and we put all this cobble back, you'll notice that none's being pulled out of our ender pouch, which is the ender chest that's open over here. And none of it's being sorted into the system because it has nowhere to go. But as soon as we open our chest and put 1 piece of cobble there, you'll see all this cobble come flowing this way. And it's going to fill the chest. So guys, as long as you have 1 piece here, which is where your provider pipe comes with 1 item per stack, or a leaf first stack. 1 item per stack is what I do so I can have multiple items in here. It's going to always keep 1 piece in there, so it will always know that cobblestone belongs in that chest. Alright, so Polymorphic and provider is probably what you're going to use for most of your storage area. Again, I'll go into that more later, but I do want to touch the other modules now. So let me pull these out of here, provider and Polymorphic. We had the item sink, provider, Polymorphic, and the quick sort. So what is next? Next we have the extractor module, and let me go ahead and get some things set up, guys, and I will show you what the extract. Actually, guys, as you can see, I've exited out to the menu. We're at 30 minutes now, so I actually need to wrap this episode up. We're going to have to split this into two parts, and I'll go over the extractor module as well as the other modules in part 2. That'll be aired tomorrow, guys, and I apologize for the wait. But again, I just want to cover everything as in-depth as possible. I know it isn't as linear as I would probably hope, but I want to make sure that we have everything covered and we just go in depth. Please like, comment, subscribe if you can, and we'll see you tomorrow.